Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz. This is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB game scheduled for Wednesday, June 19th, 2024. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily rundown best bet in the MLB, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Wednesday, Major League Baseball. First up, we see the Detroit Tigers taking on the Atlanta Braves. Tarik Skubal and Reynaldo Lopez are your starters. Now, great pitching matchup in this one. While Lopez has the better ERA, I do think Skubal is the better option, and we're getting plus money here with Detroit. I'm going to go with the Tigers on the money line, not to take anything away from Lopez. I mean, a 1.69 ERA, 1.26 at home, but Skubal, I still think, is the better starting pitcher. When you look at the expected numbers, Skubal arguably could be the best pitcher in the American League. Luis Heel certainly has something to say about that, but while the last game I didn't love his matchup against the Astros, we actually took the Astros as our best bet of the day in that one. I think this is a much better matchup for Skubal, and I think he bounces back, and he's been a very profitable pitcher this year for Detroit. I'm going to go with the Tigers on the money line. It should be a close game, probably a low-scoring game, but I think the Tigers take this one. Next up, the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. We're going to see Hunter Green and Mitch Keller as the projected starters. Another pretty good pitching matchup in this one. Mitch Keller has been really solid at PNC Park this year. He's got a 2.79 ERA in 38 2/3 innings. Right around a strikeout per inning, a low opponent's batting average, only 3 home runs given up, a 4-1 record at home as well. When you look at the last few home starts, I mean, the 6 innings, a shutout ball against the Twins, 6 2/3, a 1-run ball against the Braves, 9-inning complete game, 1-run performance against the Angels, and all of those were victories, of course, for the Buccos. Hunter Green, not really in great form when you look at the control, when you look at the home runs. That's two things that concern me. At the beginning of his career, the home run ball and the walks were really starting to pile up, and that's why he had a steep ERA. At the beginning of the year this year, that really wasn't a problem, but now we're seeing 4 home runs in the last 3 games combined, and 2 games with 5 or more walks in the last 3 of them. So I got to go with the Pittsburgh Pirates on the money line. Next up, the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Miami Marlins. No official starter for the home team, but Kyle Gibson should be going for St. Louis. Kyle Gibson has pitched really well this year. After a rough start to the year, he has been very solid since, a 3.44 ERA, even better numbers on the road. And like I said, it was because of the early season struggles that his ERA was a little bit steep. But he had through the first 3 games a 6.16 ERA, but in the month of June so far, 18 2/3, 21 strikeouts, and a 2.89 ERA. I think he'll be the better option to start this game. I think the Cardinals have the better lineup and bullpen to go with it. So give me St. Louis on the money line and run line in this one. Next up, the San Diego Padres taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Matt Waldron and Ranger Suarez are your starters. I think we're going to see a lower scoring game here. I like the under. I think Suarez is a good matchup against the Padres. San Diego's not been great against lefties this year. Suarez obviously been one of the better pitchers in baseball. 10-1 record, 1.77 ERA, but even better numbers at Citizens Bank Park. Waldron, though, has also pitched really well recently. I think we got 2 really good bullpens. And, the Phillies, while they've been a great team this year, their numbers against righties recently in the last 30 days, not as strong as they were at the beginning of the year. So I think we see both starters pitch well. Give me the under in Padres Phillies. Next up, we see the Chicago Cubs taking on the San Francisco Giants. No official starter for San Francisco. Looks like Kyle Hendricks for the Cubs. He's been solid out of the bullpen, but not really as a starting pitcher this year, and that's why he's got that ERA at 8.2. His numbers are a little bit better at Wrigley Field, but still an ERA above 7, so not much better. And, we mentioned that the outlook, it looked like it was going to be a pretty nice week for the hitters, at least weather-wise, and it's why we've seen some steep totals at Wrigley. I'll lean towards the over here. I'd like to see who the Giants are going to start, but I think we see a higher scoring game with, probably a few home runs, so give me the over. Next up, we see the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the Washington Nationals. Brandon Pfaadt and Patrick Corbin are your starters. To me, this is a lopsided pitching matchup. Pfaadt, we know, has been inconsistent. We know he's got a lot of potential. He's coming off a good outing. The last one against the Angels, 6 innings, 1 run, 8 strikeouts. Before that, he had a few rough outings, so it's tough to know what you're going to get from Pfaadt, but I still think he'll be the better option in this game. Corbin's not been great this year, and really the last few years, he struggled at Nationals Park, and ERA above 6 there. Arizona, while their numbers against lefties haven't been the best in the last 30 days, we know that they're still one of the better lineups against lefties overall this year. So give me the Diamondbacks in this one on the money line and run line. Next up, we see the Seattle Mariners taking on the Cleveland Guardians. We're going to see Tanner Bybee and Brian Wu as your starters. And the Mariners have not lost a single Brian Wu start this year. They are a perfect 6-0. he's been very, very solid, going 6 or more in the last 4 starts with only 3 runs combined in those games. So, the first start of June was 6 innings, a 6 strikeout shutout ball against the A's in a 3-0 Mariners win. They don't always score a ton of runs for him, but like you said, he's pitching so well, and you add it to the, solid Mariners bullpen. He has been a very profitable pitcher to start the year. Bybee, it's been an inconsistent season, still a sub-4 ERA, but has not pitched well at Progressive Field. We've mentioned that the stadium changes that they made in the offseason have really helped the hitters this year, especially via the home run ball in right field, especially. And I think that that's been a problem for guys like Bybee and McKenzie giving up the home run ball. I mean, Bybee only 5 home runs in 37 innings, but still, I think Woo is the better option in this game, and I'm going to go with the Mariners at a pretty good price on the money line on the road. Next up, we see the New York Yankees taking on the Baltimore Orioles, the long-awaited season debut for Garrett Cole for New York, and Cade Povich, the youngster prospect for the Orioles. And, Garrett Cole, he had a few rehab starts, looked really solid. Strikeout numbers were certainly there. But I do think because it's Garrett Cole on the mound, Yankee Stadium, very, exciting game for Yankee fans with Cole back on the bump. I think the Yankees are a little bit overvalued because of that. And I think Povich, while he struggled in his Major League debut, was excellent in his last game. His 6 innings, a shutout ball against the Braves, very solid lineup. No walks, 6 strikeouts to go with it, and a 4-2 Orioles win. And, to me, Povich's been one of the top pitching prospects in this Orioles organization. I don't know if he'll be able to go toe-to-toe with Garrett Cole, but I think he'll at least be able to compete here and keep the Orioles in the game. And we know Baltimore's been a late-inning team, especially offensively this year. A lot of rallies, a lot of come-from-behind victories. And I think that this is a spot where, you're getting an excellent price with one of the better teams in baseball. I know the other side is also a very good team, but I think the value lies with the Orioles in this one. I think the Yankees are overvalued because of Cole. And I also think Garrett Cole, probably going to have a pitch count here. His first game of the season off a, pretty big injury. They don't necessarily need to stretch him out for, too much. I would see him go 5-6 innings at the most, and I think the value lies with the Orioles. I think they have the better bullpen, so give me the O's on the money line. Next up, the Boston Red Sox taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. Brian Bayo and Kevin Gausman are your starters. Don't love that Blue Jays bullpen, so I'm just going to go with the first 5 innings for the Blue Jays. I do think Gausman's the much better option to start this game, even though his last game wasn't his best against the Guardians. Bayo just hasn't been able to find his game this year. Still at that ERA at 5, even steeper 5.45 on the road. The Red Sox have been great against righties, but the Blue Jays have also improved there. So I think to get to Bayo and at least have the lead through the first 5, but I don't love that Toronto bullpen. Like I said, I think if this is a close game late, the Red Sox could certainly make a comeback and earn the W. So give me the Blue Jays in the first 5 innings on the money line. Next up, we see the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Minnesota Twins. We're going to see Taj Bradley and Joe Ryan as your starters. Now, I know it's a small sample size, but it's still tough to ignore the road struggles for Taj Bradley this year, and I do think the Twins will be able to get to him. They've improved their offense quite a bit. While the bullpen's been a little bit shaky at times, it's still top 15 in xFIP in terms of the bullpen, expected numbers. And Joe Ryan is somebody that usually sometimes makes 1 or 2 mistake pitches in a game. Could cost them usually a home run ball, but other than that, it's pretty solid. And we saw that in the last game against the A's. Made 1 mistake pitch. It was a home run, but other than that 2-run home run, Ryan didn't give up much. He went 7 innings, a 2-run ball in a 6-2 Twins victory. So I think Ryan maybe makes a mistake here or there, but is going to be solid. Otherwise, goes 6-7 strong innings, and the Twins go on to win this game and cover the run line as well. So give me Minnesota in this one. In our next game, we see the New York Mets taking on the Texas Rangers. Sean Manaea and Andrew Heaney are your starters. The Mets have actually heated up quite a bit against left-handed pitching offensively in the last 30 days. They're at one point were one of the worst lineups in baseball against lefties, but they've definitely improved there. Andrew Heaney, I don't really trust him in this spot. He struggled at home. He struggled overall. He's been one of the least profitable pitchers in baseball as well. Personally, a 2-8 record, but when you look at the Rangers games, they've only won 3 of his starts, and he's made quite a few starts this year, or appearances at least, out of the bullpen. Total of, it looks like 14 games, so only 3 wins in those 14 games. Manaea's not my favorite option, but I will say he's been a lot better on the road than he is at Citi Field. 3-0 record, 2.81 ERA. The Rangers have been inconsistent offensively. While they had a nice series against the Dodgers where they were pretty competitive, it still wasn't a great offensive showing from them. So I'm going to go with the Mets in this game on the money line. Next up, the Houston Astros taking on the Chicago White Sox. Hunter Brown and Garrett Crochet are your starters. Now, Hunter Brown, you look at the ERA on paper, it looks really steep at 5.0, but similar to a guy like Kyle Gibson, it's because of the early season struggles where, at the beginning of the season, Hunter Brown was giving up a ton of sharp contact, a lot of earned runs, home runs In the month of April alone, he had an ERA at 11.84 through 5 starts. And, it looked like it was going to be a rough season for him. But since then, in the month of May, he had a 26 and a third innings of 29 strikeout ball and a 3.42 ERA. And then so far in June, 19 innings, 1.42 ERA, and 23 strikeouts. So you combine those last 2 months, he's been one of the better pitchers in the American League. So even though the ERA looks steep, he's been a much different pitcher. I think he pitches well against one of the weakest lineups in baseball. Garrett Crochet, he's been inconsistent. We saw an amazing start to the year, struggled a little bit in between, but now he's in excellent form again. His strikeout numbers are off the chart. He had 13 Ks in 7 innings, the last one against the Mariners. Now, this is not an easy matchup. This Astros team does a great job at limiting strikeouts against left-handed pitchers in particular. So I do think Crochet could be in trouble, and that's why I like the Astros on the run line. But I also think we see a lower scoring game in general. I like the under in Astros White Sox. Next up, we see the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Colorado Rockies. Bobby Miller and Ryan Feltner are your starters. Now, Coors Field, not necessarily the place I would pick to return to the major league level after an injury, but Bobby Miller is coming off the 15-day IL, and he hasn't pitched since April 10th at the major league level. But here he is at Coors Field, a young pitcher with not a lot of Coors Field experience. To me, it's a tough spot for him, and even if he is decent in this game, I still think that the Rockies will be able to get to that Dodgers bullpen for a few runs. On the other side, when you look at Ryan Feltner, we know he's not pitched too well at Coors Field this year, and in general recently, and an ERA just below 7 at Coors. I think we see a high-scoring game here, a classic Coors Field over. Give me the over in Dodgers-Rockies. Next up, we see the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Los Angeles Angels. Freddie Peralta and Tyler Anderson are your starters. The Brewers have been decent against lefties in 2024, and we've mentioned the regression concerns for Tyler Anderson this year. He's got a sub-3 ERA, but not for long, in my opinion. He doesn't really strike out a lot of guys. He walks a lot of hitters, a lot of fly balls, sharp contact. So while his ERA is low, I do think when you look at the expected numbers and the advanced analytics, they are not really promising for Anderson. So I do think, he could struggle in this one and going forward. I don't love Freddie Peralta in this matchup. He's not in great form. We saw that last game. He got crushed, 5 1/3 innings, 10 base hits, 6 earned runs, 2 home runs. But I still think, even if he's not perfect, I think that the Brewers will still be able to go on and win this game. I think they have a big bullpen advantage in this one. And like I said, I think their bats will be able to show up for Peralta. So this is a pretty good spot for him to put together a bounce-back outing because I think he's going to get the run support. He's facing a pretty weak lineup. I'm going to go with the Brewers here on the money line. And the final game we're to talk about for the Wednesday card in Major League Baseball, the Kansas City Royals and the Oakland Athletics. Cole Ragans and Luis Medina are your starters. To me, it's a big-time lopsided pitching matchup. Cole Ragans, while his last game he wasn't able to get the win for the Royals against the Dodgers, it was still a really good outing at Dodger Stadium. 7 innings, a 3-run ball, quality start. He's had now 4 of his last 5 games, quality starts. He's still, I think, one of the better pitchers in the American League. 86 innings, 102 strikeouts, 6 home runs given up, but 3 of those were in his last 2 games. So he's overall done a really good job of keeping the ball on the ground. And Luis Medina, while it was a really good outing from him in his season debut, since then, his last 2 games, 9 2/3 innings, 10 earned runs, 13 base hits, 6 walks to go with it. The A's are now 0-3 in his first 3 games, and all those losses were via the run line as well, 3-1, 7-0, and 6-2. I got to go with the Royals here on the run line and maybe the extended run line as well. And that's it. Those are the games for Wednesday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.